Welcome, my friends. Here we are at George Washington's birthday, sitting in the Oval Office. I hope Obama don't come in here and catch us in here.
Oh, baby.
Huh? We're just stuffed over here in the corner a little bit, but it looks pretty
Yeah.
nice to me. Look at that. Yeah, he'll come in. He won't even see us when he comes in. He's in a daze anyway. But look
So
who's
I'm
here.
back.
Look who's here. Yeah, look who's here.
I'm back here with you, my friend.
Look who's here.
I've been watching you. Well, let me say, what did I took
Yeah.
a sabbatical, what, 6
Yeah.
months ago?
Yeah, you did.
And I've been watching you, and I won't say I want. You're positive, but some of your guests have been.
Some of the guests.
Some of your ratings have gone down a little bit. So
So
I
you
said
come back
I came back
gonna
because you're
boost us? You're gonna
you're
give
a
us a-
friend.
Yes, you
And
are.
and Brian's drawing me up a new contract.
Oh, yeah, we have to
So-
get, yeah.
So we'll be working on that. I got my lawyer ready to review it.
It's just
Swatch
like a
it.
baseball player, how you kind of shut down
Yeah,
until the
yeah.
contract comes up, then you're gonna go.
Yeah, I gotta negotiate.
You got
And,
20 games this year in you?
Yeah, I probably could do 20.
All right, that's good.
I got Swats and Swats. Those are my attorneys in Boston. They'll
Now,
be-
you just came in here and you said, what, the girls' basketball team?
Girls basketball just won, and the boys last night. I talked to Muzzy Rosa and the gang. That's part
Yeah,
of a
that's the
gang for the
gang, yeah.
basketball. The
Yeah.
picture was in the paper.
Yeah.
And Kane was there. He was there. The girls just won and the boys won last night. They said, what, 2.8 seconds on the clock. The boys won by 2 points.
So that's good, we must be doing good.
Baskets, they're doing excellent.
We
work.
have good,
Yeah.
we have Sullivans for coaches. The boys have a Sullivan and
Good
the girls
Irish
have a
boys,
Sullivan.
huh?
Yep. All right, start off here. You'll have to take some guesses at this stuff. But I'm sure you read the paper.
I read the paper and I watch you.
Yeah, you
so
watch me. So you know
I get
everything
more
that's
out of
going
you
on.
than I do the paper.
I know.
The paper's only
Yeah.
got 4 pages.
We're having an analysis. This is an interesting thing. We're having an analysis to find out who the poor kids are so we can feed them lunch for free. Because if you feed children free lunch, the government pays for the food. So they want to make sure that if everybody who's getting the money, getting a free lunch, they want to make sure so they get the money back from the federal government. They have to do this I suppose every couple of years the kids change, so they keep moving up and out. So
I guess
suppose they have to
that
do it all
there's
the
quite a,
time.
there's quite a, I'll just say this. My understanding, there's quite a few that get the morning.
Yeah, they get morning lunch, yeah.
They get the
breakfast,
morning
yeah.
and then they get the lunch. So it's, hey, let me say this to you. This is our country. And we should be taking care of our own.
That's right.
So I have no problem with that program at
That's
all.
right. We're getting
And if I had a document in front of me, being in the Oval Office, I'd sign it right now. Keep it going.
The school department may enter 5-year deals for buses and food. I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, because I think the longer a company has a contract, in other words, let's say 1 year or 2 years, if you give them 5, then I think you can get a better deal.
He can plan ahead
Yeah,
further.
and get a
you know.
better deal.
Right,
I think
yeah.
your rate may be this, and then it maybe come down a little bit too
Yeah.
in the 3rd year or 4th year.
And then the
So-
people who drive the bus have a little security
right,
in the long
right.
run.
So
Okay, so we're for that.
I am.
I'll be for that too. Now, the Woburn Community Educational Foundation is something they started up. All the heavy hitters' names are on there. Joe Crowley,
I saw
and
that.
superintendent, and the chairman of the school department. So they're going to raise money. They're going to ask people to give money to the foundation, and then the foundation is going to sit there with this big pile of dough. And then when they decide that there's something worth providing money for, like you guys at the Lions give
Yeah,
money out,
yeah.
so they're going to do the same. They're going to give money to the schools. My only problem with that is it's another person or group getting involved in how the schools run. You know what I mean?
Is it
Because-
strictly schools, Stuart, on
Yeah,
the money?
yeah,
Strictly schools.
Strictly the schools.
Yeah.
So they do it for 3 or 4 years. Now the money runs out. Now then what happens? The taxpayers will have to pick it up, or they have to abandon the problem. But I'm sure they're pretty confident that they can keep it going. But there's always a downside to those things. I can remember in the past they tried to do something like that. Every time there's a little bit of a a little slow in the economy, you know, say,
Yeah.
why don't we get some of these people, like the old leather workers and stuff, to donate the money, and yeah, it's good for a couple of years after that.
You know, as you know, and I think your viewers know, there's probably isn't I won't say a day, but there's no question a week goes by that you don't get a call on solicitation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's rampant. It's not, if you said, oh, it's sparse. No, it isn't sparse. It's rampant. And I'm not going to name the organizations that call, but the fact is, I think that people only have, we'll
The
say,
police department, they call all the time.
a limited amount of money to give out to whether it's the cancer or to the Boys and Girls Club or whatever the case may be. And, you know, the more you keep on asking, people get, I'm telling you, get turned off by it. So.
I wonder, there's always some article, a story comes out later on that some places get 75 cents on a dollar raised.
Yeah.
And some places get a dime, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you have to be careful about where you're giving it.
You do.
But people in, I think police department, I don't ever remember getting a call from a fire department, but the chief, they have different levels of organization. They have patrolmen that raise money. They have officers that raise money.
They raise money for MS. And sometimes they have what they call the boot, you know.
Yeah, the boot.
If you
Oh, the
walk
firemen,
through,
that's
yeah,
right.
if you walk through Boston, Eddie, sometimes at the firehouses, they'll have a boot in front of the firehouse in the summertime. I'm going to say, because I notice on Hanover Street, that fire department there, I usually stop in there and say hello, because I was friendly with a fireman that died out of that department. So they have a boot there, you know.
And you just throw your change in there or throw a $10 bill in
But you
there.
know, the people, let's say, Cummings and Flaherty and those people.
They go every day.
You know, if you think you're going to ask them, which I'm not saying not to, if this thing gets off the ground, but it's going to hurt the Lions Parade. It's going to other things that they donate. I mean, to
That's right.
Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, summer camps for kids.
I have a friend,
you
Keith
know?
Russell's down on Wynn Street, a little hydraulic shop, one-man operation.
Yeah,
Every day somebody asks him for 100. Every day.
yeah.
He just says, no, I'll give it over to you. No, from now
So,
on, it's just not going to
I kind of have the same feeling as you do, that if they need things that they're not getting right now, or they feel that there's a program, then I think that should be sat down between the school committee and the city council and the mayor.
Because the people should pay for it.
Yeah,
That's
I
what they
mean,
should pay for it.
you and I are paying for things that we're not using. We don't use some things in the city,
Yeah, that's
but
right.
the fact is, it's our
Have to pay.
responsibility to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, this will give me a good reason to get one of those guys in here that's on that list and have them explain to just exactly how they're going to do it. Because I talked to Rick Mitters a couple of
watched
weeks
that.
ago. and
Right
he
here,
didn't bring-
right?
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
bring it up. So I'm surprised that I saw his name on there. But anyway, that doesn't make any difference. You went to the heroin and
I did.
I thought it was wonderful.
I,
Not wonderful, but
No.
education.
It's education. I went there, let me say, why would I go? Opium and heroin, I mean, I read like you do,
Yeah.
try to get some knowledge about it. I said, let me go. I have a son, as you know, that's in the
Yeah.
Woburn court. This is part of his program. So I want to be supportive. I want to get knowledge. I want to try to understand. I went there. I want to tell you, I thought the mayor did an excellent job. The chief of police did an excellent job. The fire chief did an excellent job. Captain Rufo did an excellent job. And I want to tell you who did an excellent job was Mike Higgins.
Really?
Excellent. And Vinnie Pero. But Higgins was, he has quite a knowledge, and he's been around, you know. I mean, I'm not here to say, I think he's thinking about retiring.
Really?
Yeah, he's been around. He's been in the court, I think, 35 years now.
Yeah, he's been there a long time.
So, what I learned was that there's there's a product on the market, and it's called NAR CAN, C-A-N. And what this will do, what this does, you get an injection. If you overdosed, and I'm only familiar with, I think it was heroin, but it may be other, we'll call it drugs.
Heroin, yeah.
If you overdose and you get an injection within a period of time, you can be brought back from
Dead.
no heartbeat,
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
And this is a new product. It's on the market. The fire chief, Ring, fairly new gentleman, you know him and I do. He get up. Most of his people are qualified. What do you call? Not in CPR, but qualified
EMTs.
EMTs.
Yeah.
And he's going to instruct them to have this with them in their vehicles. I mean, that's the way I took it. Now, the police chief is also going to be working on a program that his people that are qualified, we'll say in CPR and defibrillators, that they will also have this, we'll call it serum, with them. I just happened to be traveling this past weekend, and I passed through Providence, Rhode Island, and I saw this headline of a young man that was actually, he had no heartbeat. He is a heroin addict, and he was in a halfway house, and his door was open a little bit. Somebody going by, see he was on the floor, blue, and the halfway director of this home had this serum and injected him, and naturally the paramedics were called. As they were putting him on the stretcher, he came back and sat up. He says, "Can I have a cigarette?"
Yeah, imagine.
True story.
True
I'm going to give this to Mike Higgins and Vinnie Pero down the court so that they can see this. I'll let you read it, Eddie.
Yeah.
It was a good example. I just happened to go by and I said, that's similar to what I went to. So,
Was there any discussion about, all I ever hear of is people use it because it's cheap.
It's cheap. It's the cheapest thing you can get. And my understanding is, if you, OxyContin they were selling pills, they said for $80 a pill at one time. And what they do is either they ingest them or they can crush them.
Yeah.
And then using the term, they snort it. Now heroin, you can get a bag of heroin for $5, $6, $7.
Really?
And they inject that. And the feeling from that dosage supposedly is similar to OxyContin or something like that. But you don't get it on the second time you try
you won't get it
so
once.
you got to increase.
The amount you're going to use.
So it may be $5 or $8, but then now the next time you need 2 bags, and then you got to get 3. So that's what I guess the fact is that it's rampant. My understanding is it's rampant in the New England area. According to Captain Rufo, he said it's coming from Mexico into New York, and then they get it up here in New England. And he said that the discussion was more on gentlemen in the people, 20s and 30s that I get out of it. They're not too positive yet, and they haven't got any leads that it's in
the young
the
kids.
young kids of the schools.
Yeah.
As we sit here. So I thought it was an excellent, I'm glad I went. I really am, Eddie. To sit and try to understand what's going on in today's world of ours. I thought it was a great
It's pretty
turnout.
understandable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God! All they had when I was a kid was a Pickwick,
Pickwick Ale,
Narragansett,
Yeah.
PIQs.
a Mabel Black Label.
Yeah, all that stuff.
You
Yeah.
know, so.
How about double poles? What do you know about double
Oh,
poles?
double poles. Let me.
Now, Jesus, that's been going on since.
Since
who was the first mayor of Woburn? Johnson?
Yeah.
They didn't have poles, maybe.
No, they didn't. We had, what did we have there? We had candles and wicks, I
Yeah.
guess, for lights. But anyways, this is something that's been probably going on for my knowledge for 50
Forever,
years.
yeah.
So,
Forever.
the thing that gets me is, years ago when they would hit a pole, they didn't get a new pole in there right away. They would try to string it up, put a guard wire on it, or whatever they could do, and cut the bottom and try to station it till they can get the new pole. Today they run out, they get a new pole, almost like 24 hours.
Yeah.
But there's so many
Attachments on the pole.
Take a look at, next time you're on your street, and just take a look at the wires that are there. Now, Edison, Verizon, they can do theirs, but they can't touch the fire cable. Cable TV, RCN,
Comcast,
or Comcast, they can't, fire department can't touch that. And whatever else that you have on there, it's too bad that we have this type of lack of communication that brings 4 or 5 or 6 departments together that's saying, hey, we're going to be there tomorrow, we'll be with you, one bucket truck, you come down, I go up, you come down, I go up. It just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
And now I look at, there was one across from the old Choate Hospital, New Horizons, they just cut it off and it's hanging up.
Yeah, just hanging.
It's hanging up above there. Here, the new pole is there, but this, I guess they call it a stub.
Yeah.
And it's up there. So I think the city council is trying to wrestle with this, but I don't think the answer is to take away
Punish them?
permits for people that need that service. So, but let me say this to you.
What if you said went the opposite way and said, for every pole, for every 10 poles you can fix, they're not fixed, you have to hire a Woburnite as an employee.
Well,
you know what I mean? Because they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. This has been going on since I was a baby.
how about giving them a number of, we'll say days, or I won't say no years, because some of them are weeks, let's say 4 weeks, and then they have to pay a fine.
But okay, so
You know,
I crashed my car, I break the pole. They come, they put a new pole right in. But that night they got a pole right in there. So now they go up there and they switch the Edison is the electricity, so that's always at the top of the pole.
Away.
Very top of the pole. So you don't climb up to the top of the pole. You get electrocuted. So now they got to get Verizon, they got to get Comcast, RCN, whatever, and then ultimately the lowest thing on the pole is the fire department for the alarms and all that stuff. So we keep pounding on these other guys, but they get this done real quick.
Pretty quick, because as you know, they got more manpower and they have the equipment.
But Comcast just say they don't come. They may never come. They never come. But it's interesting to see, that's when the mayor should be sending out the letters saying that this is what we're going to do in the future to you people, because the other guy takes care of his stuff.
I had a, just to give you a little insight, I had a pole, I'll name the street, but I won't give you the guy's name, on Kilby Street.
Yeah.
And I was an alderman at the time, and the fellow wanted to widen his driveway. Now we got, at that time, 2 cars, now we got 4 cars, 5 cars to a home, but he wanted to widen the driveway, and the pole was right on the edge of and if he widened it, then the pole would be in the middle, similar to Joey McAdams over here on Wood Street. You see that one in the middle. And he wanted that moved, and that became a very problem for him, and it's still there. So the Edison then wanted $600 to move that pole. And he happened to call me, and I said, wow, $600 would probably be like a couple of thousand today, maybe a little more. I said, we'll take care of that. So I happen to be the chairman of utilities on the city council, so the Edison come in to, like they're doing now. They want to do something on another street, send it to committee. Most of these things get passed like that.
Some of them are already done.
Yeah,
before they come for the permit.
Send it to committee, and something else come in, a conduit, send it to committee.
Yeah.
So at one time I had like 17 things in committee. Now I got a call from the mayor, and he happened to be Tom Higgins, and he says to me, "Paul, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I got a guy. They want to charge him $600. He's not going to pay $600. Hey, you can't hold up everything." I said, "Well, we'll see what happens." Well, make a long story short, the pole got moved, and my constituent paid that.
Zero. That's
So,
what you mean.
but you can move mountains if you want to, you know. So I'm not saying that this city council could do that, but I think that maybe if there's a fine or so many days if you don't do it, there's got to be something to make people react, you know, to take action, to react. I don't know, Eddie.
I don't know. They haven't thought of it yet. It's been going on for a long time.
We'll probably talk about this.
I thought this was a pretty good idea. Durant came up with this idea.
Yeah.
But then after listening to some of the arguments, and of course, Melanson, he's trying to get him to cross the street, Wyman Street, that's all, in the underground. He's got to go in the underground. So just across the street there. So, you know, now they say, well, you're holding him up. And I don't know why they're so concerned about holding him up. They've been holding him up for a couple of years now. But the fact of the matter is that all of that stuff is just a headache for them. And then until you get the subdivision finished, get the people in there, and then they're paying taxes and all that.
It shouldn't, though, we'll call it the levy or the amount of pressure put on the developer that's looking for service. It should be put on by the city and make that service supplier follow through in a period of time. You know, if you said to me, how many double poles would you think of in Woburn? Well, I'll tell you right now, I'll start at 500, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2,000.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them have been there for a while. I mean, they've been there for a while. So I really don't have the answer, but I think that a period of time, Eddie, maybe a little fine or something to make those utility companies follow through.
On a related matter, the former alderman, Catherine Shaughnessy, from down in the Rag Rock area. Oh, where she lives? She lives
Scott
on
Street.
Scott Street.
By the old
right up by the old Y. Yeah. So now she was down there because she didn't get a notice on a public hearing. The gas company did up the street. Now, she's right, but that's never going to happen either, because the gas company is just going to do what they do.
Well,
because they're going to say, as soon as they get pushed a little bit, they say, look, it's an emergency. Yeah. If you give me a permit, I'll fix it. If it's not fixed and the house blows up, it's on you.
I think,
of course, they give the permit.
In that particular case, and I watched that meeting,
yeah.
And I listened to Dick Gailey, who's knowledgeable in the public works area. That street was done. Scott Street was repaved. Sidewalks were done. And the gas company was in there at one time, and I believe they put a main in there before we did the street over, meaning the city. And so I'm leaning to that was an emergency, that there was some type of either a house leak or out in the street leak, and they had to punch the street.
Yeah.
Because usually that wouldn't happen. I mean, there'd be if it was to give an extension of service to, we'll say over to Chestnut Street, that would have to call for public hearing.
Yeah.
There's something, they were going to check it, some all were going to check it. I happen to lean towards that it was an emergency.
The president of the city council, he didn't have much information for her, but he was going to look into it from the people who know. But I can tell you, what my experience with the gas company is they do what they do.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. They got certain responsibilities when they get up in the morning, and they go do it. and you can get in their way or whatever, they'll have you arrested and hauled away.
And
say,
she
"Look
didn't
at
seem
you."
like she was too happy because she said that she called her alderman, Mr. Gaffney, and she
Yeah.
called the superintendent of public works, and I'll repeat what she said. She said, I haven't heard from him yet.
No.
You know, but I happen to think that Dick Gately hit the nail on the head, that it was an emergency.
No question about it. No question about it. All right, American Tower.
Yeah, good
Big company.
Oh, I think it's a grand.
I thought it was like 4 people worked over there.
600.
Now there's 600
Yeah.
people all over the world, too.
Yep, and they want me to come up and do a tour of the building, which I said I would. I'm very familiar with that building. That was undercover wear, and the guy was
Oh, yeah, that's right,
James
too.
Bond, Walter, give me his last name. He went by 007. Number plates on his car was 007. And
I think I've seen that car around.
and I'll think of his name, but he was in the business of undercover wear, similar to what Fredericks of Hollywood is.
Yeah.
And
But I thought that was more up in...
no, this is his building. He had to go around into Wilmington to get to it when the road didn't connect down to
Oh, yeah.
Commerce Way. So Walter James, his name was.
Walter James.
And the story is, he built that building, which was an elaborate building. He opened it up in '86, and I went to the opening. And he had visions of making that into a casino. He wired that building for a future casino to build a hotel beside it.
Really?
In '86, yeah, well, it started building about '84. That was his dream, to have a casino there. And when you stepped in, he had a chandelier. Eddie, I've been in a lot of buildings. This was the most elaborate building in Woburn at that time.
Really?
It was like 4 floors, 3.5 floors, and you had the chandelier bigger than this White House that was sitting in. Ooh, what a chandelier! Come right down.
Unbelievable, really,
Yeah. And
How do you ever think he was going to put a casino?
well,
in?
he had visions. If you remember, the Commonwealth was talking about casinos back in the '80s. Charlie Flaherty was Speaker of the House,
right,
and they were talking about casinos then, and it never got off the ground. But he had visions of making that building.
Unbelievable.
So I'm waiting for the date to go up there and do a tour, and they want to hear my knowledge about the building. So
yeah, that's good.
I'm going to give it to them. So anyways.
But I mean, I think it was pretty cool to put an antenna up and then say, well, we're going to use it to train the people. Got to have some there, right?
Yeah.
And then while we're there, we just stick a few things on there. But I didn't realize you had that's personal property, and you have to get a special permit.
and they're going to
for
pay a
that.
tax on that.
Yeah.
And also, the police chief, Bob Ferrello, is
You could use it if you want.
he's going to put his thing up there, so because he's got some dead spots in that side of the city between Reading and Commerce Way, you know, and so he's going over there with a tower similar to what he has behind the police station. He's going
Really?
to hook onto their tower at no cost to the.
At no cost.
No, that's going to be gratis. So I thought that's good. Public safety, I thought it was good.
W.R. Grace out of some city in the south, I think it's Atlanta, where their headquarters are. They're going to spend $60-something million. I thought they were going to spend $60-something million in Woburn, but
No.
that's about 50 projects they got going. So I'd like to know from DEP if I could find that out. We'll have to go up there and investigate a little bit, and maybe find some employees that work there and find out exactly what they're going to do with those 2 wells. Because there was one time there was nothing they could do to clean them up. Now maybe they've invented a different way, because there's a lot of water in that
Aberdeen
area.
Valley.
And Aberdeen Valley. I don't know if it's any good anymore, but it might be good for manufacturing processes.
I went down the end of Cabot Road, well, 3 years ago. I think I told you, where now Party Time, they came out of Winchester and moved up there. They bought that big building that they were using for a movie studio.
Oh yeah, in the back. Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah.
I don't know who was in there years ago, Eddie, but it's been there a while, that building.
Who was in there? You know who was in there? One of them big,
It's a big,
electronic. One of them big electronic companies was.
Graza?
Oh, I forget.
Wow.
The one that was up in. Go ahead.
That building's right on the Aberdeen River, which is really Hall's Brook.
Yep.
The name of it is
That's right,
Hall's
Hall's
Brook.
Brook, right.
And D'Onofalo, going back in the late 60s and 70s. Bill D'Onofrio claims that, to me, that he dug out Hallsbrook and created a holding area to get water out of it when they were taking down different areas of ledge. And if you remember where Tigard is, that was a ledge, there was a quarry there. I mean, they set up, they were crushing it.
Yeah.
There's another hole over there that they dug. Now, they said it's a retention area. They put granite all the way down into this retention. How can it be not man-made? It's man-made.
Yeah.
You know, so that, as you know, they pumped the water so that they could keep the dust down.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Before
The
they
highway,
said-
they were right next to the highway.
Yeah, so the DEP is behind that building. Now, I told you 3 years ago, I took a ride around the back of that building. Somebody gave me a heads up. I know Mike Raymond knows about it. They've got dams, oil catches.
Oh, yeah, they got all that stuff.
They
Yeah,
got a
I
little.
remember you told me that before.
They
I
built
went
a
over and looked at
walkway.
it.
They
Yeah.
built a walkway out in the middle of the water.
Yep.
So they've been up there. So now I have a feeling that they're getting caught again here. W.R. Grace. You know, they're probably paid. I mean, let's put it out there.
They paid a lot of
Eddie,
money.
would you believe they're probably paid what, 3, 4, 500 million?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yep. I bet they're $500 million, no question. Yep.
Yeah, I have that same feeling.
Yeah.
That they have.
It's not finished yet, that's for sure. But I don't know how they can spend money on those 2 wells. I mean, I'd like to know exactly what they think they can do if they could clean them up. But some of the chemicals, they didn't have anything years ago that would take it out of the water.
No.
Because I know the Atlantic Gelatin was interested at one time with those 2 wells. Because they use a lot of water over there. So you pump that water right over there. But they said, no, nobody's going to use that water. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's
You
for
know,
sure.
every time we read an article like that, it brings back memories.
Oh, yeah.
And I use the term, we got that cloud one. Flies
It's still
over
there.
us,
It's
you
going
know.
to be there.
Every time W.R. Grace is mentioned. Now, you see the land on Washington Street. I mean, it's still there.
Yep.
The most logical person would be Bill Cummings, where he's all around it.
Yep.
And you don't see him
He's
taking
not jumping in
He's
there,
not jumping in there.
No.
Because I think,
I don't know if he'd jump in if they gave it to him.
well,
That's
I
another
can't-
problem.
I can't answer it, but
Yeah.
that's,
You know, they're after people. They want the money from anybody that's in control of it.
imagine Cummings buys that or they give it to him,
Yeah.
and then how about those pockets at the DEP?
Yeah, they could get in his drawers. Yeah, that's for sure, huh?
Oh.
Yeah. Laura, let's watch Rain and see what he's got for local. Maybe he's got some Olympic stuff.
Oh.
Hello folks and welcome once again to Sports. As always, I'm your host Ray Newcomb, and today we will be looking at various topics from around the world of sports. First, we go to Sochi, Russia, where the 2014 Winter Olympic Games are in full swing. One of the biggest stories coming out of the Games so far is that of St. Louis Blues player TJ Oshie, who led the USA men's hockey team to victory 3-2 over their formidable Russian rivals. The U.S. men's team also defeated Slovenia 5-1 on Sunday morning. On a not-so-happy note from Sochi, legendary snowboarder Shaun White was not able to attain any medals despite expectations of great success. It is possible that White, who has been a professional snowboarder for over a decade, is beginning to show his age. In local news, the Woburn High Track program had a very successful outing at the Division II state relays on Friday night. One of the most impressive of all was Woburn High senior Anthony Nguyen, who was able to achieve a ranking of 14th in the entire country in the 4x200 race. In Red Sox news, last week the Sox pitcher Ryan Dempster dropped a bomb on the baseball world when he announced that he will be sitting this coming season out. He cited physical reasons as the main factor in his decision, but says he will also take time off to be with his family more consistently. Well, that's all for today, folks. For sports, I'm Ray Newcomb. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of the show.
Good job, Rain.
Yeah, excellent.
Excellent job.
He's a good kid.
Yeah, he's a good kid. Olympics.
Yeah.
His picture was in the paper too.
It was
a
his
fan of the.
Was it his mother was with him? Did I see?
No, I think he was just with a bunch of other kids,
Okay.
I'm sure. I don't know, though. I didn't look at it. So I noticed him right away because I see him
I think,
very
no, I
close.
think I met his mother too one time.
Oh, yeah, I met him. We met
Yeah.
her going out one
That's
night.
it, yeah.
That's right.
That's right, yeah. Good moving boy.
All right, so in my research over the weekend and during the past since the last show, and on Thursday there's a local part of the globe that gives little things, Reading, Wilmington, Woburn, and there was a little blurb by this guy named Laidlaw who writes all that stuff
He does.
every week. And he had a little couple of paragraphs about the
Water meters.
water meters. And it didn't seem to me that this is where the confusion comes from. If they left us alone, the Globe, if they left us alone, and between the mayor and the city council, we kind of get as much information as we need relative to the water meters. So now they come along and say, well, they had an alderman who volunteered for the program, and then they had to dig up his line because his plumbing was all screwed up. Well, geez, maybe, I don't know if Ray Drapeau, he might have said, my water meter's out in the line, I'm going to volunteer for the program so they fix it for me. I mean, that's what I do, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Say, good, come and get it. Because I don't know how, when they built that street, how his water meter shut-off got in the middle of his line. Except for the fact, I also know that if you're working there and you get 2 or 3 pieces of copper and it comes out that's the end, that's where the thing is going. So that's how, back in the day, I don't know how old this house is. But anyway, it made it sound as though there was a possibility that some of the residents were going to have to pay for having the meter installed.
Yeah.
And basically, I think they have put that pretty much to sleep. There could be 1 or 2 cases whereby there's old pipes and the situation in your cellar might be all screwed up, so they have to come in there and do some work. But they may be able to absorb that. So I don't think it's going to cost anybody anything. And I'll probably end up eating those words, but let's wait and see. Instead of getting all this information from the Globe that it really isn't good.
I'm surprised that the Globe didn't put that on the front page like they did with the
Yeah,
other,
they do all
you
that.
know,
They
with
do all
the glass of wine.
Yeah.
But it was in the right section, the
It was
metro
in the right-
section.
It was in the metro
But
section.
I want to say this here, Eddie. I still believe that water meters are the third rail in moving. I don't know if we've heard the end of this. They're saying that we may get it done cheaper than $6 million now, and maybe
Yeah, they're
3.5
talking
or
about
4
3
million.
and a half, yeah.
But I would be the first one to say 2 things. One is I don't think the homeowner should be held responsible for a minor change in whether it's in the house or
Nope, that's
outside.
right.
And minor, I use the word minor now. And I also am going to be, if I'm still here, I'm going to be watching the city council when they set those rates.
Well, that'll be
Because
the-
that's
that-
where
yeah.
the item is.
That's where the fight will be.
You better believe it.
That's
and,
right.
and those rates better reflect something that is favorable not only to me as a homeowner, but what business is getting whacked now for the sewer.
Yep.
I mean, so we're all in this city together.
And I'll tell you that Winchester and Lexington and some of these other communities, maybe Medford, they pay in the tens of thousands of dollars for water.
People are moving here. I know people live in Reading, and guess what? I know a family just moved out of Reading, and if I tell you that their water bill was almost $4,000.
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
And they just quit their own wells. They
Yeah.
went on the
Yeah.
MWRA.
And you know, the biggest thing we have here, and you know, they use percentages, even in that article. Let me give you the percentage that my knowledge says. We're pretty close to 70-30. That would be 70 produced by the wells of Horn Pond and 30% by the NWRA. Where this building is right here, this is Horn Pond water. As you go down Monfield Avenue, you hit the lower level. That's where the 60 PSI meet, right at Wood Street. They push against each other. Most of your water in East Woburn is all in WRA
right.
and up in the industrial park. But from here, bottom of Wood Street, that's all Horn Pond. That's our water. You know, we paid a lot of money for the various new buildings that were built down there, the treatment plants and stuff.
right.
So, anyways, but that's where I think we've got to be right on target, Eddie.
Yep.
We got to watch. I don't think anybody should be held for minor. If you got to put what they call the tail ends on, or sort of a little bit.
Yeah.
But the rate
The rate
is
is
the
going to
answer.
be where it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
There's no question about that because we are the difference between what we pay for water and these surrounding communities to us that don't have a lot of water of their own are paying through the nose. That's for sure.
Oh, they are.
Yep. Because if that pipe you guys put up Commerce Way for Wilmington, that just put them out of business. They're
Yeah.
way up there now too.
So,
So it's a pretty scary thing.
so we'll watch it, and for you as a homeowner and a businessman, you watch it here in Woburn because this is an ongoing debate now, probably
Yep.
for the next 2 or 3 years.
So on Sunday, there's a section in the Boston Globe. It's north. That's where they say we live in the north. All right. So the same thing. This Laidlaw kid, he writes that the insurance, the mayor proposed insurance, go from the city to the state and blah blah blah, all that stuff. And of course, he lost that vote 5-4, and he made it sound like we aren't going to have any more Santa Claus at Christmas time anymore because this thing got defeated. I am a little disappointed in the city council for not putting it in committee because, I mean, that's where you're going to find out what's going on, you know. Hash it around a little bit and then vote 5-4 to defeat it. But to throw it right in his face, I don't think that was a good idea. But it doesn't make any difference. When you buy a car, a house, or whatever you're going to do, you get an insurance policy. Now, I have never read a total insurance policy that I ever had in my life, but I have an agent, and he tells me.
And that's his job.
That's his job.
To advise you.
You're covered here, you're covered there, you're covered
Yeah.
there. Okay. So now, with health insurance, it's the same thing. It's an individual responsibility for you to get the coverage you need. For me and you, we're all set. I got a card, I throw it anywhere, the government pays. Whatever on my VA card, I go there, they take care of all that.
I have GIC, Eddie. I was under the county, then
Yeah.
the county, when I left the county, it went defunct. I kept it going, you know, and now I became a state guy, and I'm under GIC. And my premiums have changed.
Yeah.
And my copay has changed. And, you know, I'm sitting here today because I got good doctors, and my doctors are not cheap.
That's right.
They get paid for what
Keeping
they
you
should
going.
get paid for.
That's
I mean, hey, they keep me going. Money is here.
But now the other part now, Mike Charest, I know him a little bit.
Yeah.
He lives up on Foley Road near the mayor. He's probably a friend of the mayor's. Now he wrote a letter in the Times saying that he thought the mayor did the right thing and blah blah blah. But it's the same thing. It's unless you get an opportunity to look at the policy and discover what's the best part of it for you, because now the thing of it is the city's going to save X amount of dollars, a couple of million, million and a half.
Something like that was $1 million something.
What are they going to do with it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
If your wife says she went shopping and she went to 13 stores and you say, what did you do that for? I saved $20. That means she got $20 in her pocket for tomorrow, to buy tomorrow's supper.
Yeah.
She saved money by shopping, right? So now these guys in the government, they save, So he's going to save $1 million by going over there, maybe $2 million. So what's going to happen? It's going to be 5 more fire trucks or 5 cruisers or whatever. It will help keep the tax rate down, except for the fact that it'll just jump up next year or the year after.
But you know, and I know, that when government gets your money, they don't want to give it back.
No.
And that can start at this level, this level, this level, and where we're sitting in this office.
That's right.
This level.
That's right.
They don't want to give it back to you. And so they'll find some way, somehow, to spend it.
Yep.
And so
And if
hey,
he can say, now this kid here, Scott Galvin, has a tremendous reputation for being with the nickel. He's got his thumb
Yeah,
right on the.
yeah.
If you ask him a question, I've been fortunate enough to be in his office a couple of times interviewing him for this program, and if you ask him, he don't know. He'll spin around in that chair. He's on that computer. He got an answer for you in a couple of minutes.
Now I got to tell you something, and I've told the mayor this. Okay, I told him this. So what I'm going to say is 100% true because I said it to him. I had a list of what I considered to be future mayors. I was on it. I wasn't a future mayor. I tried.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I had a list. I didn't have Scott Galvin on that list. He was not on my list to be a future mayor.
Yeah.
And if you said why, I just didn't think that, I'll use the term, had to get up and go. You know?
Oh, yeah, he's been on the council for a long time. He had plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, and I just think, but you know what? Guess what? He just got reelected by a pretty large polarity.
Right, that's right.
And, that was not an easy campaign for either candidate.
Right.
And it cost a lot of money. I mean, in all the time that I've been around this political arena like you in Woburn, do you ever see an ad on the front page of the Woburn Daily Times in color?
Yeah, in color. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, now...
And all of those big pieces of cardboard in the mail.
Get bigger.
Yeah.
My mailman, I got to get a bigger mailbox. I couldn't get him in there.
I can't get them in there.
But going back to health, Eddie, let me just say this to you. Forget your wealth. You're nothing without health. And so, to me, as an individual, I have 5 great doctors in Mass General, and I do what they tell me to do. And I follow. My poor father probably didn't go to a doctor 3 times in his life.
Yeah.
But it's just, well, it is what it is. I take so many pills. I've said to my doctor, this. How do I know when I take these all together that they go to the different spots that they're going to go? You know what his answer was?
They do.
Well, you know what he said? You're sitting here with me.
Yeah. I asked the same question. I said, what if I grind them all up? I take a bunch too. So I says, I'm going to grind them all up, make dust out of them. And I'm going to put them, I take a glass of water, swallow them all. It make no difference. They know exactly what they're
Where
doing.
they're going.
They go exactly what they're doing.
So, hey,
He says it might even help if you smash them up.
well, they say that if you do break up pills, they get to the area or what they're supposed to do faster than going into your stomach.
Yeah.
You know, or they all go into your stomach. But anyway, say, health is. Listen, if somebody said to you that the rate of your copay or your stay is going to go up 10%, what are you going to do? You're going to say, I don't want the insurance? You can't. You can't do it. I mean, you just can't. You got to have insurance.
This is why I said last week. I said, it's inevitable. It's like water meters. It's inevitable. If he doesn't get it switched over this time, some mayor down the road is going to get it switched over. They're going to do it because that's where the savings are. They're going to try and get every person that works for a city or town, school teachers and public works and fire and cops, to join up in the 351 cities and towns. And now you've got 6 million people, or how many million people
and that's where,
and they'll be buying a policy. It'll be cheaper.
Yeah, you know, now, the more fish in the sea, the cheaper it's going to be.
That's right.
And it's the same, insurance. If we have many people in that pool, insurance rates are cheaper.
That's right.
It's if you and I went out to buy insurance right now,
I couldn't afford it.
We couldn't afford it.
No.
Just one husband and wife. I'll give you a figure, probably between $4,000 and $5,000 a year.
Yeah.
For a husband and wife.
Yeah. And these policies, these kids got down like the city council. My daughter, for the sake of telling the truth, whatever they call that, my daughter's a select person in Rockport, and they don't get paid any salary. They get paid the insurance.
They do.
Yeah. So, all these policies for these cities and towns are $16,000, $17,000, $18,000 a year. So, I mean, And down there, the people say the same thing. You ran for office and you're getting the pay. Okay, so put the cost of the insurance in my pay, and then I'll take the pay and buy the insurance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that could be the same thing. They could do that over here, but of course they'd be making too much money.
Before we go, I'm going to say this. I give credit where credit is due, and I mean that. And Ed Walker said over a year ago, quote, "Why don't drugstores be given the license to dispense marijuana for medical purposes? They have their own licenses now for various other narcotics, and they are already up in business. And we have seen in almost a year, over a year, that this has become a political football.
Yep.
One person gets 3 licenses. Why? He was a former congressman, ex-Congressman Delahunt. And how did he get those licenses? Because the committee that was set up, there's a woman on there, and
The boss of it.
she forgot when she was filling out her ethics stuff that she had a fundraiser for him and has donated to him when he was a congressman. I forgot all about that. Oh my God, I forgot all about that. Can you believe this? Yeah. I mean, do they think we were born yesterday?
Not one light. He got not one store.
He gets 3.
He gets 3.
You know, now you can see the big boys want to control this. This is almost like going back to Prohibition.
Yep, it is.
When the government legalized liquor, what happened? They got a piece of the action. They taxed it.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some money coming in.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you right now, this, believe me, you deserve a lot of credit. You know, do you know people have said to me, what's you keep talking about that marijuana?
Yeah.
But you know, I got to say, Eddie, negotiate your new contract with Brian.
Yeah.
Because that is true what you did. And you know what? You thought of that.
Yeah.
And you said it.
I said it, yeah.
Drugstores should have been in charge of that.
They should be. That's
And,
right. They sell the OxyContin. Why can't they sell a joint right next to it?
You know?
In CVS, Walgreens, those stores are nationwide.
Yeah. You think they're going to get themselves in trouble? They're going to blow all their licenses to sell drugs to a guy that shouldn't get them?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No, I think this is a big mistake on the Commonwealth of Mass part.
In the casinos, we could forget that.
Forget
That's
about it.
gone down.
You know, how's they go? Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Forget it.
You know, it's not gonna. We're not gonna see a casino.
No.
You know, we'll take a look at mileage on
They'll
my
be
car.
soon. Yeah, now that Revere got to vote again and all that.
Please.
We'll be sorry. Well, we got to get out of here.
All right.
Listen, good to have you. Hey, people
to-
say get him back there. We need somebody to bounce that stuff off of. That's true too.
Yeah.
It's true too. And you get that old knowledge of double poles back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, and that's right. We
70s,
know.
baby.
I tell people that. I say, this guy got the information. That's why he's got to come back.
Yeah.
So we'll come back. We're going to be here next week, and we'll have more information about some of this stuff.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Good to be with you.
Next time.
Good night.